Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks, where we talk about life, love, and business.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk, where we talk about life, love, and business. My independent camera went out, and so I'm using the computer camera. So I apologize if it's not as good, but I promise, inshallah, that the information will be just as good. So welcome you all. I want to first thank each and every one of you who tuned in Thursday to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. We highlighted author Shalom Muhammad. She had a very powerful and heavy story, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you all who supported. And so this Tuesday coming up, we have another very, very special show. I'm going to be with Brother Wali Muhammad. We used to call him back in the day Captain Jack. But Brother Wali and I are going to continue the discussion that I was having last week with Student Imam Abdul Salam and Student Imam Sultan Rahman Muhammad on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as the father of Black consciousness. And so we're gonna bring it to you all 90s style next Tuesday coming up. So tune in, mark your calendar, because it's a different day for us. And we'll probably do a replay or something like that on Thursday. But I just want to make sure we get it in. And I think this is going to be a good one. Okay. So, all right. Welcome to you all in the chat. I'm going to get started here. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Victor, Brother Lamont. Welcome. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, Regional Sky Girl, for tuning in from a random city and a random hotel. Safe travels, and you be safe out there, because it's all this crazy stuff happening in the airlines. Get your money, but be safe and stay close to Allah. Sister Cynthia 3X, wa alaikum salam. Sister Sandra D, welcome, wa alaikum salam. Happy Saturday to you as well. Praying hands, Sister Cynthia 3X and Sister Aletha, wa alaikum salam. Happy Saturday to you as well, and happy Saturday to those of you who are not in the chat. Let's get into it. So what we're doing in this series is we're taking the proper handling of people that was given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we're applying it to ourselves as entrepreneurs and as business people. And so episode 10 is going to be reviewing chapter 10. There's a lot of information here. What y'all drinking on? I got me some coffee. I got some decaf coffee, and I spiced it up with a little cardamom So it's nice and good and spicy and a little bit of pumpkin spice in there. And I'm using my Sajdah House Thermo, which you can get for 24% off at sajdahhouse.com. All right, so coffee, tea, let me know. All right, so let's start in. This particular chapter has several sections. And let me tell you the section heads first. The first one is troubles of the insecure laborer. And we're going to call that troubles of the insecure entrepreneur. Okay. The next one is troubles of the sadistic laborer. And we're going to call that troubles of the sadistic entrepreneur. Then there's factors forcing the neurotic pattern. And then there's some problem laborers, and we're going to call that some problem entrepreneurs. And then there's, are you the cause of the laborer's trouble? And we're going to say, are you the cause of the entrepreneur's trouble? Okay. And then the last section in this chapter is finding the source of error. So we got a lot to cover. So, before I get into this, let me just say this. We really, really, really have to work on focusing on healing and digging deep. Do some forgiveness work with yourself. I just finished some forgiveness work of just going through and forgiving myself for things that I needed to forgive myself about. Some kind of shadow work, where you have these things that are impacting you, but you don't know why. And the whole idea is to do what I can to present myself as a healthy and whole person that can be balanced, right? Because when you have those biases inside of you, it impacts how you lead and how you relate to others. So if you're chauvinist, for example, then as a chauvinist, you're going to see everything and you're going to lead through the eyes of being a chauvinist. And a lot of men like, oh, I'm not no chauvinist. I believe in women, support. It's so funny because I had, and this happens often with chauvinists, especially in business, because a lot of times when chauvinists come to the table, they assume as a woman that they can either holler at you or they assume that you like them if you're nice. Okay. Like you trying to date them, you giving them a little something and you want to be with them if you're nice. I have this thing where I'll say to people, hey, sending you good energy. Have a beautiful day. And sometimes people will take that and go, oh, yeah, she like me. She feeling me. And it's like, you know what? You just seeing the eyes through this ego, this chauvinism. Ain't nobody trying to holler at you, bro. I just said, have a good day. Sending you energy. We being friends are friendly, but sometimes that chauvinism will kick in and people will see everything you do. If you call and say, hey, how did the plan go? Let's say you guys worked on a team and you implemented a plan and you call or you text and you say, hey, how's it going? They're like, yeah, she feeling me. She be texting me. No, bro, if I was hollering at you, you would know I'm a real grown woman. But that's just an example. I'm not trying to bust on men or anything, but because women do it too, where we take a comment or a compliment out of context and or just take the person being nice. Because if you're secure, and I'm one of those persons, I'm pretty secure in who I am. If I like you, I like you. If I don't, I don't. If I like you, I'm all in on supporting, and that's just who I am. If I don't, then I just don't. You may not hear that, and if I was really trying to holler at somebody to date, which I don't go after and try to holler at men and give them little, and that's another thing. As women, a lot of times you activate that chauvinism in people, and it's very difficult to understand how they're going to react when you activate that. I see Brother Lamont. He said, yes, I had a client that thought I was trying to get with her. Not the case, but glad to have your business. Yeah, a lot of people are confused by that. This is why we have to clean up, because in this predatory world where somebody else is controlling how much money you make, when you make it, You don't really have to be healed. You just have to be in alignment with the predator, right? But in this case, where we're really trying to pull out of the universe everything that we need, we want to clean it up so we can be a conduit. So here's the first section: troubles of the insecure entrepreneur. Okay, when an entrepreneur is insecure, or a person is in leadership in your company, whether it's a manager or a supervisor, section leader, team leader, what are the 5 things that trouble them or that create trouble for you? Number 1, they pass the buck. And when it's bad, they just constantly pass the buck. Oh, no. You were supposed to do that. This happens even when you have insecure workers, where instead of them really doing their job, they're just texting people and emailing people. And you say, hey, I thought I asked you to, purchase those books so we can sell at the conference this week. And they said, oh, I emailed you and told you they weren't going to make it. You couldn't communicate that. You just passed the buck back on to me. That happens a lot. Anyway, they pass the buck. They take all the credit when it's good. So instead of standing up and say, hey, I want to thank my team, blah, 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 what do? They take all the credit. I did this and it's me. And they assume that anything you can do, they can do. So no acknowledgement of your skills. They don't give information to you. So information may come down from the CEO or information that you may need to do your job, and they don't tell you. I'm a big stickler on that. If somebody gives me information, if I'm blessed to be on the phone with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he says, tell so-and-so I sent the greetings, I'll make sure I beeline to that person and send them the greetings. If he says something to me about that person and that person needs to know, especially if it's good, then I'll let them know, hey, the minister said some really good things about you and sent you the greeting. I'm not willy-nilly with the information. So if he said something that they may not take in a certain way, I'm not necessarily passing that on that he didn't tell me to pass on. But if it's some good information and then he follows it up with like, yeah, give them the greetings and I know I can pass it on, why not make somebody's day? Why not, if you're sitting with the CEO, if I'm sitting with a business partner and the business partner says, I just was talking to one of my former business partners the other day, and I happen to have had a conversation with one of his employees. And I said, you know what? I said, she's really smart. I really like her. And I paid her a compliment. And I wanted to make sure that he knew that information. I passed it on. The other one is they surround themselves with people who are their favorites, or what is called yes men or yes women. So that insecure entrepreneur or insecure leader will build a team of people around them who are yes men and yes women. They won't build a team that includes people that have a diversity of thought. See, now you got a real leader. When you can sit down at the table and people who think differently from you, who look differently from you, who have a different perspective, now you're able to really lead the team. And then the last one is they get panicky over having to make decisions. So when they get ready to make a decision, they're all in their emotions instead of looking at it mathematically. Okay, I'm sure. Let me know in the chat if you know people like this. Here's the second section. Troubles of the sadistic entrepreneur. That person tends to take everything out on their people. So whatever is insecurity that they have going on inside of them, they take it out on everybody else. Those people are very easy to manipulate and they don't even know it, because all somebody has to do is sit back and make them worry, make them feel insecure. All they have to do is sit back and figure out the weakness, and then that's how they get to you. Because you're gonna pour all that out on your staff. All of those insecurities, you're going to give it to them, and that's going to be incorporated into your decision. This is why it's important for us to heal and do the work so that we can attract and work with people who are diverse and overcome our own personal demons So we're not taking that out on other people. That person likes to see people eat dirt. So you have some people who think that they're being military and hardcore and they're just beating a person down, and because that's how they were taught business. So whoever taught them business or their first job beat them up. So everybody on their team has to get beat up as well. And then they pick on individuals in the team. Okay. And they're just really super quick to punish. No weighing things out. Just, I'm going to punish you, not because you did something wrong per se, but because I didn't like what you did or because it doesn't agree with me. Where does that come from? That comes from working with predators. And those predators operate like that. Like, you're going to abide by me. If you don't do what I say and agree with everything I say, then I'm going to call you a name. And when I label you with that name, then you're going to be punished by other people who are also scared of me. And then what do? We come into business and we use some form of that manner of doing business in our businesses. So it's important that we understand that these business models, we cannot bring that crap over to our new conscious businesses and into our nation building. Okay. Here are the factors that force a neurotic pattern. Okay. I see y'all in the chat. Let me know. Give me some feedback on these kind of people. If you've worked with them, if you see them, if it's something that you're struggling with yourself. It's okay, because this is a safe place for us to heal and for us to be able to calm our central nervous system down, stop worrying, and heal. Part of what gives you stress is trying to protect your insecurities. But if you do the work and start healing, then you take that stick out of the hand of anybody that's chiming in on your conversations, watching you, trying to see what your weaknesses are. Whatever, you can look, but my weakness is not my God. Huh? That's bars. Anyway, factors forcing the neurotic pattern. Number one, sensitivity to domination. So some people are just very, very sensitive to domination. What does that mean? So sensitivity to domination, we can look at that from one way or another. Are you sensitive to dominating this group? Is it kind of becoming your fiefdom, if you will, your little kingdom? And so you're the manager and you're like, I'm sensitive. This is my territory. And anybody that comes up and looks like they're going to threaten my territory or come up and maybe influence the people in my territory, I don't like them. I'm sensitive to it. So I'm going to label them and again, punish them by marginalizing them. Huh? See, this is why we give mental strategies for people who are marginalized, and marginalized don't got nothing to do necessarily with race. It may have to do with the fact that you may or may not align with the person who's in charge or the predator that you work for. There are burdens of responsibility. It's the second one. When you get burdens of responsibility, or when you are burdened by responsibility, you exaggerate, or your insecurities become exaggerated. I was reading in the Holy Quran this morning. I put this in the chat too. Surah 53, verse 38, that no bearer of burdens bears another's burden. And then when I was reading over this and it talked about the burdens of responsibility exaggerating the insecurity. Why? Because we become insecure either because there's things inside of us we need to heal, either because we really don't want the responsibility. We just want the title, the name. We want you to see us as a big shot, but we really don't want the responsibility of it. So that can exaggerate that insecurity and whatever's causing that. Sometimes we get the big head. So we take good employees and try to make them great managers, or you have a technician, an engineer, a doctor, an accountant, and they're good technically, but they don't transfer well over into business ownership. they're really just good at doing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's difficult for those people to transfer that technical skill to that entrepreneurial ownership. And so that those insecurities are there. Sometimes there are insecurities that made you go into that field in the first place. So anytime the more responsibility you get, your insecurities exaggerate, that's going to tell you that you got some places you need to heal. And I would suggest that you write that stuff down. What am I feeling? What am I dealing with? And sit there with it. We have an exercise in emotional intelligence where when you're feeling that insecurity, you write that insecurity down, you look at it on the paper, and you just let that feeling flow. And most of the time you'll see that it'll go away, or it's not that big of a deal, or you'll figure out a solution on how to get over it. Okay. Number 3, economic and emotional security depends on the relationship. Okay. So oftentimes in business, when we have these insecurities, we become over dependent on a certain relationship within the business or outside of the business. One of the best pieces of advice that I was blessed to hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when we were talking about my mission to develop the museum for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said, don't worry about where your help is going to come from. It was so powerful, that piece of advice. But when I think about that, it put me in a position where, as a leader in this particular case, I didn't feel overly dependent upon somebody who came to help, who I may have seen was showing signs of some insecurity. I didn't have to kiss their backside to keep them around. I could just apply principles, try to be as best as I can, bring the best of myself to the table, allow Allah to flow through me to the best of my ability. And then if they came and went or stepped back or whatever, their intentions became clear. Some people just can't hang with you when you're doing long projects like this. These kind of projects require a lot of stamina. They require a lot of stamina. They require a lot of courage. They require a lot of steadfastness. They require a lot of determination. They require you to just be in beast mode. They require you to submit. They have a lot on you. And so a lot of people can't hang with you. And so when you're not dependent upon them, you don't get mad at them if they just go, you know what, I got to tap out right now. And they just don't have what it takes. And that's okay. Because again, right? The Quran says that no bearer of burden bears another's burden. So it's my burden. And I'm grateful, so very grateful for people who see it and help me and take on that burden. It's like they see me carrying a big cross and they come and get up under it. And some people can't help me carry it all the way, but they can carry part of the way. And then there are those who are going to carry all the way through the end with me. So not being dependent on that emotionally is key. And that's what he's talking about here, I believe. Sometimes if the future status of the project depends on that person, if you all are both dealing with inadequate leadership, it can create a neurotic pattern. And if you're dealing with inadequate assistance, like if you don't have no help, that also can create a neurotic pattern. Again, that's why it's important to do the work and to heal and see what pops up, because God is going to try you. He may put you in a position where you really don't have good help, and see what pops up in you. Do you become angry and abusive? Do you cry and just go in a corner and give up? Do you continue to persevere? And oftentimes when you don't know what to do, you just got to keep moving. Just keep moving. All right, here's the next one. Some problem entrepreneurs. Okay, I see y'all in the chat. All right, there's 9 of these. Problem entrepreneurs. Number 1, the wishy-washy ones. Not sure of anything, least of all themselves. Just wishy-washy. They squirmish, you can't stand on them. I cannot stand a person whose word is not bond. That to me that means that we have things to work on. I'm the kind of person, I will drive on 2 wheels, catch a train, bus, and a plane to do the best I can to try to make my word bond. And I guarantee you, if it's taking me a minute to make my word bond, you can best believe that it's on my mind, that I'm working and I'm doing everything I can to make my word bond. And if I can help make your word bond, I'm going to help you make your word bond. When I hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say something and I know he wants to make his word bond, I'm doing what I can to help make his word bond. Even if it ain't got nothing to do with me, if I can just pray on it and support it in some way from a distance, I'm going to do what I can to make his word bond. That's what you do with your leader, is you help the leader make their word bond as well. But oftentimes people are wishy-washy and not sure of anything, and it's difficult for them, and they become problem entrepreneurs or problem leaders. They're domineering. They got to run the show, and they want everybody to know, I'm in charge. I'm the HNIC. That's a problem, right? Some people are slave drivers. They wage personal war with their people, and their goal is to win. And they become competitive with everybody, even people around them and who work with them. They purposely choose people that are beneath them or don't look as good as them or who don't look good at all or aren't that smart, because they want to be the slave driver. They want to be the god of that little universe, right? The fourth one is people who are out of touch. They leave all the details and everything to the subordinate. You gotta brief yourself. When I was working, when every client I get, I study the industry. I'm helping somebody build a particular clinic, and in that industry, I am studying that industry. I'm studying the city that they're in. I'm studying the people around them, because I don't want to leave all the details up to them. I want to stay in touch. This one, number 5, it's kind of old school language. It says being palsy-wowsy. They think I can get the so-and-sos to work better for me if I do a little backslapping. Meaning, like, you just think you got to be extra friends with everybody and you got to bend over backwards and you're buying friendship. And a lot of entrepreneurs do that. They think if they give gifts, and I've been through that, where I employ people and I think, well, if I just help them meet their goals and if I just do everything I can for them, they're going to stay and they're going to help me. So when the minister said, don't worry about where your help is going to come from, he snatched that demon up out of me. And so my thing is, look, I'm going to try to be as best I can to you. And so you hold up your end of the bargain. I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain. Because oftentimes when people come to work for you, they bring bad habits. They're trying to get as much money for doing as little as possible. And for me, I have this thing in my brain. I know how to do a lot of things. So a lot of times people who are working for me, if it's an assistant or whatever, sometimes when I step back, I realize they ain't hardly doing nothing. I'm just kind of paying them to hang. Well, you got to work on that, right? These are all things we have to heal from. Number 6 is a moody person. Personal problems keep them out of the running. Some people just have so much going on in their lives that they just can't compete in this particular arena that they're trying to be in, right? So some people can't compete, and what do? They become the slave driver and look at me, 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 me. But other people are just so moody and their emotions are up and down. They can't control it, that they really can't. They just can't do it. Okay. They're just out of the running. You have the know-it-all. They know all the answers and nobody else knows anything. You know, those people, you try to tell them something, and as soon as you say something, they interrupt you and, or they don't want to hear it. I would suggest this, because what happens for us as Black people, when we have businesses, everybody's trying to tell us what to do. People will walk in the door and they think they are expert, and they'll tell you, oh, it might be a better idea if you put the t-shirts over here or you move the jewelry over there. And what you should do, and you get this a lot, especially as a Black entrepreneur. I don't think a lot of other ethnicities get it. We get it from our people, we get it from other people, but we're always constantly got somebody telling us what to do. So what you want to do is provide a space for employees or customers to give you feedback. That way you can contain it. You can still pull the good out of it, but you're not constantly bombarded with it, because people may bombard you when you're in a certain emotional state, and that may make you feel insecure. And next thing you know, you're changing up. So provide a contained space. So with customers, you want to have, maybe a feedback or suggestion site or a box or something where, hey, we welcome your feedback. Please take this survey. You see that a lot. You can try that, and then that'll allow you to go through things. If you have people that you're around, then you can ask them their opinion. Hey, what do you think? Or and here's the other side of it. You have to also be responsible. Don't always just be bombarding somebody with what you think and what it is. Sometimes just go, hey, you know what? I wanted to make this suggestion to you. Sometimes all in how you do it. Okay, but contain that as an entrepreneur. If it's your staff, have a place where they can give their feedback, and you can say to them, hey, I want to know your feedback. I love 360 feedback when we're evaluating ourselves as leadership, because it helps us to look and say, I didn't know you felt like that. I didn't know you saw me like that. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. On the next one is, on their way up, they have their eye on the next rung and their foot on your neck. Ooh. I'll read that again. He says, on his or her way up, he or she has their eye on the next rung or the next level and their foot on your neck. I don't even think that requires any explanation. And then number 9, just that person that's overburdened. They start running the moment they wake up and they haven't caught up with anything yet. Some of us think that being busy means that we're professional. Being busy means that we're in business. So we just busy ourselves. So our schedule, every single hour of the day, we got something in it, and we're organizing our schedule. Well, you know what I do? I project manage myself. So in those hours of the day, there's time built in for me. There's time for me to just sit down and go, have a cup of tea, or have some motivation. Call your cousin, call your mom. I'll build that in just so that I'm not running. And then if I'm looking at my calendar and I see that part is blocked, and it might just be sit outside and relax and have a cup of tea from 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. Or it may be pray at noon and then meditate, and that's blocked off. But build those kind of things into your schedule so that you're not just running. What I do is, if I have a lot of meetings scheduled in a day, I build in 15-minute increments or 30-minute increments if I can, especially when it's packed back to back like that, where I can just sit and meditate in between. So if it just means I'm at the computer and I'm on calls back to back, then 30 minutes in between, I'm going to get up and go and do a quick meditation to reset myself, to reset and remove the energy from the last meeting or the last person. That's what I have to do because I'm an empath. So as an empath, I have to take a moment to step away and go inside of myself. Okay, here's the next section. I think we're doing good. If you guys have any questions, how y'all doing in the chat? I don't see any questions. So thank you, sis. Thank you, Regional Sky Girl. She said, please like and share this master class. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The next section is, are you the cause of the entrepreneur's trouble? Okay. Sometimes as employees, we don't even think about the person above us as a human being. We don't see the business owner or the project leader as a human being, right? Oh, you building this or you doing that. Nobody calls you and say, hey, how you doing? Can I take you out to dinner? I just want to send you a hug. If you know me, I'll do that. I'll send you good energy. I'll send you a hug. I'll say, hey, sending you a quick hug. And no, that don't mean nothing else. But I'll do that because sometimes people don't see you as human. So sometimes as an employee, we're so busy trying to get as much as we can for doing as little as possible. So we're constantly trying to figure out, how do I shrink this down? How do I take the extra ream of paper? How do I clock in from this time to this time, but only work? How do I clock in for an hour, but only work 45 minutes or 30 minutes? We're so busy trying to get over, because when you're in a predatory environment and you're being treated like prey, then your job becomes really just trying to escape. And so we become so focused on escaping that when we work and we're in a situation where whether we're in a sorority, fraternity, at the mosque, at school, at our job, that energy of trying to escape comes with us. Okay? So are you the cause of the employee's trouble? Number one, do you like to show off and show up your superior? Do you want everybody to know that you the baddest and you the one who do it? Are you not team playing and what you want to do is always bust them out? Are you constantly evaluating them? They walk into a room, you looking at them, what they got on, how they dressing, they looking a little chunky today, or their face don't look right, their eyes red, they looking tired, or they shouldn't have did this, or I wouldn't have did that. Are you constantly evaluating that person so that you can show them up? Number two, do you resent taking orders? And that happens a lot when you're talking about Black authority, because Black people not used to other Black people being in charge. White people ain't used to Black folks being in charge. Asian people ain't used to a Black person being in charge. Hispanic people ain't used to a Black person being in charge. A lot of people have issues with Black authority. And then don't be Black in a woman. And don't be Black in a Muslim woman, okay? Sometimes they resent taking orders. Are you that person? Somebody got to tell you what to do. Somebody programmed your brain and told you to think the way you think and to do what you do. So somebody got to tell you what to do on this particular job. Somebody already done told you what to do. So again, we have to heal. We have to get over that. Do you tend to bypass people that you don't like? Do you bypass your boss? Do you bypass that person that's working next to you because you consider them irrelevant? Do you find yourself getting emotional when you're talking about your boss or thinking about them? Or you go home, you just ranting about how you can't stand this person. And if you ain't bold enough to rant with your mouth, you ranting with your mind. Do you think you should be in that person's shoes? I've had people call me out the clear blue sky and say, you know what? I asked Allah, why you? Why you get to do this? And I go back to this. I said that no bearer of burden bears another's burden. You got your own burdens, ma'am. You got your own burdens, sir, that I can't bear for you and you can't bear mine. All we can do is be team players and work together and support one another. So don't sit there thinking that you should be in that person's shoes. If you find yourself having those kind of thoughts, you are a problem on a team or in an organization. Sorry, it's the truth. Okay. Do you depend on your boss too much? Do you depend on leadership too much? See, one of the problems when you see a person as subhuman, or when you don't see your boss or that leader as human, and you get lazy and you're not trying to do the work yourself and heal and focus on yourself, you put all the burdens for everything that's wrong on the leadership. Well, if they would just, If they was the infamous they, who is they? If they would just do such and such, then we would feel like this. If they. Sometimes you put too much on that leadership team or on your boss. You put too much on them. And as a leader, you see it, because a lot of times I would give people assignments when I'm working with folks, and these kind of people, now that I've learned and I've healed myself some, I realize I can't let you put your problems on me. Every time I give you an assignment, I feel the energy. Again, I'm an empath. I feel the energy of you putting your problem on me. It's too much dependency. So I try to be careful to make sure that I'm not creating that type of dependency when I work with people. Even in the language, I'll call it team members. I'll say partner. This person works with me, so that there's not a whole lot of dependency. I'll even structure the financial situation so that there's a product or service involved. So if they help me build up that product or service, I'll share the revenue. They can get paid too. Even if that person may be considered a subordinate, they can revenue share. Now that becomes difficult because a lot of people just really want to be your dependent. They don't want to do no work. They just really want you to pay them and for being your dependent. And so those kind of people, don't let them activate your ego. You really have to get rid of those kind of people, because they will activate your ego. And next thing you know, they're dependent, and you're dependent on them really just stroking your ego all day. And that's what they really want you to pay them for. And they'll do a little work, but it's really just ego stroking. Okay. Let's see. We already covered that one. Do you dislike do you got personal problems with your boss or the entrepreneur? I would strongly suggest to you that if you are in a position and you got a personal problem with somebody who's in charge, you either need to fix it and resolve it. Y'all need to do some atonement, or get off their team. But don't be on that person's team and have a personal problem with them. Just fall back. Find something else to do. But don't be on my team and have a personal problem with me. See, I'm an empath. I'm going to snuff it out. But a lot of people are not like that. They're busy. They're focused. They're doing what they got to do. They don't see it. They don't really have that gift of discernment. So they don't even know you got a personal problem with them. Do yourself a favor and do the organization a favor and go do something else. Just go do something else. Sometimes you can't resolve it. And if it's something that's one-sided, then fix that within yourself. Go fix yourself. Don't bring your drama to the table and make it a personal problem between yourself and the leadership. The other one is, do you keep them in the dark as much as possible? And are you afraid of them? Some people rule by fear, and they love it when people fear them. And so a lot of people, because they've been working for predators who like them to be scared, they come to the table when they start working for you, and they are naturally scared of you. Not because you've done anything to make them scared, but because this is a behavioral pattern that they've had anytime they've practiced or witnessed anytime they've entered into a leadership subordinate type of situation. All right. And this last section, finding the source of error. Okay. When an error is made, how do you find the source of it? And you want to be focused on the source, because a lot of times we chop down the very first person we see. But sometimes we need to do a little bit of research and figure out what's the source. You want to verify the extent of it. What is the extent of the impact? What is the extent of the actions that contributed to the error? Okay, so you want to identify that. You want to find the reason. You want to bring the situation out into the open and with your leadership team saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is why it's important not to have yes people around you or people who are dogmatic. You want people who are thinkers. So when you say, hey, we have a lack of participation or a lack of involvement, or how can we grow? You want people who are going to sit at the table with you and say, well, we could grow if this happened. And they'll give you some real things. But if an error happens, they're going to sit down and give you a real reason and help you to unravel it. And then you want to have, once you create your remedy or your solution, you want to weigh it. What are the downstream effects? Remember, we're playing chess, not checkers. What are the downstream effects? What are the horizontal impacts? How is that going to impact our goal? We want to look at this in all different ways. So we want to weigh it. And then we want to make sure that we figure out how to put controls in place so that we prevent the reoccurrence of these errors. And then we have to atone and rebuild any damage that the error caused. So as a leader, you got a lot of work to do. You know, it's not just, let me slap a Band-Aid on it. Let me just, again, when we work for somebody, oftentimes we just see one side. But we don't know what needs to happen underneath and behind the scenes to move that company or that organization forward. And so these things in this episode 10, this chapter 10 of the proper handling of people are excellent in terms of helping us to understand what are the leadership traits that need to happen. And again, remember, we all have a personal goal. We, as leaders, we should have a personal goal. That personal goal should be to operate at that frequency of authenticity that we talked about. And what does that mean? We identify the truth and we want to stand on that truth. We want to believe that truth. And then we want our actions to reflect that truth and that belief. And when that lines up, now we're vibrating at the frequency of authenticity, and we're fertile for Allah to come in and show up and show out in a more increasing manner. He don't necessarily need us to do that, but we need it. So we want to be, well, let me put it this way. I need it because my goal is to be his conduit. And I asked for that. I said, Allah, make me your conduit. Flow through me. I want people to know who you are. I want when they see me to see a reflection of you. I want when they experience me to experience a reflection of you. So that's my own personal goal. Everybody got their own different goals, but that's my goal. I want to be an asset to people. I want to help people to find solutions to what's plaguing them. I want to help you to uplift people so that they see you as their source. All right. So let's see what y'all saying over here in the chat. I see Sister Sandra just said, now I've had to do that and move around and later it worked out better. Yeah. Just talking about these different things. Deal breaker if the word is not your bond. That's right. I see all the emojis and things like that. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see the activity in the chat. Y'all getting busy in there. All right. So I hope you all enjoyed that. And I thank you all very much for your continued support. I was having a thing where people would ask me like, well, do you take this payment method? Do you take that payment method for Sajdah House? So I created the landing page, supportsajdahhouse.com. We still have 24% off on all products at sajdahhouse.com. If you use the discount code SD24. So on there to tell you how to support, whether it's Cash App, whether it's Zelle, whether you want to be a sponsor, whether you want to participate. I'm excited that we are working. I've been putting some work in every day on the Black Muslim Business Directory. If you have been a guest on the show and you have not joined the directory and you have not claimed your page, please go out there because we want to put a link on your profile to your interview that you had with me, which is going to help you with promoting your business. It'll allow people to get to know you. And when you sign up, make sure you put your email address in there, because in putting your email address in there, it allows us to communicate with you. Some master classes that we have coming up, we want to do a special promotion for our entrepreneurs and those in the Black Muslim Business Directory that are from Detroit. It's my Savior's Day gift to the Black Muslim business community in really focusing and helping our business people from the city of Detroit to get highlighted and featured, since we're bringing the convention there. And you all know hospitality and these conventions, they really change people's lives. And so if we're really intentional and conscious about it, if we're going to a certain city, we should be impacting the lives and ultimately the pockets, if I should say the pockets and ultimately the lives of those that are in business that are there. And so that's the reason why cities bid on, remember the big bid for the Olympics and different things like that, because that convention and those people and that amount of hospitality revenue coming into that city is going to change the lives of people. Okay. And no, the goal of the convention, whether it's Savior's Day or whatever, is not to just make money. The goal of the convention is the goal of the convention. But I think we have to stop ignoring the economic impact that our work and the work of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the conventions and things like that it has on the cities that he travels to. And so it's important that the Muslims benefit. So if you are a Muslim in the city of Detroit and you have a business, or if you're a Black business in the city of Detroit and you're a conscious entrepreneur, don't come over here if you're a predator and you got illegal products and all this stuff, and you want to benefit and just have us highlight you, and you have something that will offer a service that'll make the convention better for people, or just help people celebrate, enrich the lives of those who are attending, then we want to highlight you. It's my Savior's Day gift to the community. So I want to highlight you. If we got to do a show every day, I'm okay with that. But I want to be flooded with the number of Black Muslims that want to be highlighted, and conscious Black entrepreneurs during prior to getting to Savior's Day. If you offer food, if you have clothing, if you have whatever, excuse me, maybe you have a transportation company. And so people don't have to take Uber. Maybe you want people to know that you got this transportation company and you can help people get from the airport to their hotels. They don't have to be stressed out with a taxi or an Uber. This is the kind of thing I'm thinking of. Sometimes after the meetings and after the event, a lot of people have been on post and they've been busy all day, and there's really nowhere to eat except for the McDonald's that's in the convention center. Well, if you got some healthy food that is in alignment with our dietary program, then why not highlight that? But there's all kinds of services that you can offer to support the convention goers and make it easier for them. We want to highlight you here on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. So send me an email, blackmuslimbusinesses@gmail.com. Let's see. I see Sister Karima said, Assalamu alaikum. I pray Allah to fill me up with his presence. However, I love the word you use, conduit. Yes, ma'am. That's a beautiful picture, Sister Karima. I like that profile. All right. And she said, now I've had to do that. And oh yeah, we covered that one. Okay. All right. Thank you all, family. I appreciate tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. You don't want to miss this powerful conversation that I'm going to have with Brother Wali. We're going to be continuing this conversation about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as the father of Black consciousness. So get here, get you a front row seat. Inshallah, it's going to be good. And make it a happy Saturday. Love on somebody today. Do something nice for somebody today. Smile at somebody today. Hug somebody today. Give some love. Share some love today. A lot of people start going through it during the holidays because they're buying into the media propaganda of the holidays. It should be a beautiful time of the year. We say Thanksgiving, right? But for a lot of people, it's not. So be that. If you got friends that don't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving, invite them over or give them a call. If if you celebrate, and if you don't, it's okay too. It's just a day, but it's a season of giving and a season of love. And that's how I like to look at it. Instead of trying to say I'm ignoring everything that's going on around me, is that, of my belief system, I try to extract as much of the love and participate in the love to the extent that I can. Y'all know I'm a sucker for some love and some friendship and good time and smiling and laughing. So, and giving and being grateful. So, all right. Thank you all. You all stay blessed. Thank you. Sister Cynthia says, thank you so much. Regional Sky Girl says, stay blessed and safe, everyone. And Sister Sandra says, thank you. So we really appreciate you. Support SajdahHouse.com. Y'all know the Cash App is Sajdah Enterprises. Get your commemorative coin. Use the discount code SD24. And let's get it done. Let's make our minister's word bond. Let's get it done. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Happy Saturday. See y'all Tuesday, inshallah.